Good morning, all. Welcome to the AIM Digital webinar showcasing AIM Digital Media's presentation of connecting physicality with digital and the social media aspect. So today we're going to run through the beginning of the presentation showing the physical attributes of direct mail. And then I'm going to introduce Tim Mischuk, the president of the AIM Digital Media side, who's going to show how we tie that to the social portion of sharing and what we get from that as far as analytics. Again, the basis of this presentation is to show the links between physical and also social or digital. My name is Mark Phillips. I'm the Director of Client Relations here at Avant Imaging and Integrated Media, and I'll run through the first 16 slides with you, and then I'm going to be turning the presentation over to Tim to show you the second half of how it ties to social. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask them online and we'll get to them at the end of this presentation. We are recording this presentation, so you will be able to see it in future if we're going a little fast or we miss some key points. So without further ado, we're going to start, as it says on the screen, with the science behind the solution. And this is the Canada Post Neuroscience research deck, but we think it's very important that we show the physicality connection. So many of you may have seen this presentation from Canada Post, and it's part of the Smart Mail Marketing Science of Activation. It's been around for a few years, but it is relevant, and I think you'll see as we go through it what we're going to concentrate on with the physicality is breaking through the noise of digital, the bias for action, and the connection or connecting for action. We're going to go through the basics of how the brain understands, and the interesting thing that we found in this study was that digital it seems to be the major focus today, but we're seeing people pull back a little bit from digital only and are looking for that tactile piece in a campaign. So we're going to go through, as it says on the left-hand side, between number one, understanding how the mail flows through the Canadian households, but more importantly is analyzing the brain's response to physical and digital advertising. Again, we're not saying that one solution is better than the other. We're saying a complete solution requires both aspects. So Canada Post did team up with the neuromarketing experts at True Impact Marketing to launch this study. And again, it's been validated since its inception early in 2015. So let's look at physical versus digital. The journey through physical talks about the plainness of a postcard, envelope, or dimensional. Sensory can be an envelope or a piece with a scent, or it can have a sound. Inside digital side, you've got a banner ad that shows up on a laptop or a mobile. Same with an email, laptop or mobile. Pretty evenly balanced here with the exception of the dimensional, sound, and the scent. So as we go through the images, you'll see that we're tracking images through eye tracking glasses, and they also did EEG studies on what you were seeing when it was presented in front of you as a consumer. So cognitive load, you can see this portion in the brain at the prefrontal cortex is small relatively to the motivation piece and also the visual attention. So the two visual attentions, the parietal and the occipital cortex, in size outweigh the size of the cognitive side. Motivation is in the middle, and that's the one we're trying to get to. So as we go through in the testing, we see that the physical versus digital cognitive load scores are relatively the same, but we'll see that physical is a less load on your mind. So what this truly means is that your mind isn't taxed with trying to understand it, deduce it, or read it. It's much simpler for your mind to understand it. And then if we go through the channels based on the survey, you can see physical, and this goes to the recall of a detail, whether it's a detail of a coupon, a detail of a date, a detail of a special offer. In a physical piece in somebody's hand, the recall of that is about 80%. It also is tied to the brand recall. Whereas when you look in digital, although you can recall the promo details, you can't always tie that back to the brand. So again, the physical piece in somebody's hand links the brand recall to the recall of the promo details in a higher percentage. And you can see in the brand recall it's quite high. It's almost double. In motivation, physical media is 20% more motivating than digital. So you can see in the graphs here that we can actually see that the physical is showing a higher motivation score. Motivating to do what? It's the call to action, whether it's to visit a store, make a purchase, or book a trip. It's a motivation to call to action. So when we look at the average time that people are on to, and this is measured in milliseconds, you can see that physical media is processed in less time than digital, and it's coupled with a higher motivation and a lower cognitive load. So those three things tied together shows that the physical aspect still has relevance in the marketplace today. Again, a little bit more detail on the motivation to cognitive load ratio. Direct mail is 1.3 versus the 0.87 in digital media. So those three together that we saw on the last slide tie together and show a higher motivation in a direct mail piece. So breaking through the noise, this is one of the things that people, I think we've all experienced, where we're bombarded with digital media coming across today, and to sort through it to figure out what's important, what's not. I mean, we all have spam filters, we all have junk folders. There's a lot of stuff that goes to those because it's just overwhelming for a lot of people. So what we're showing here today, again, is how a direct mail factors into the life of a consumer, and it influences their purchase journey. But that journey may end at some point, and that's where we feel social amplification from the digital motivation comes in and takes it to the next step. This is a very interesting slide for some of us today. We all had an understanding that millennials were only digital. We're now finding that's probably further from the truth than ever. We're finding that getting something in a mailbox or a super box at home is making a stronger connection. When stuff comes across into your mobile or your computer at home, it comes pretty easily. When people make the effort as part of their daily routine to get a piece of mail, whether it's from a super box or whether it's from a box outside their home, it is part of their routine. They then tend to check the mail more frequently, maybe daily, maybe second day. They visit the mailbox again expecting something specific like a parcel or a check. When you address a piece of mail, studies show that it's open and it's read immediately. There's that link between a brand and a person at that point, which may not be as relevant in digital only. Direct mail of interest also requires a more detailed read because, again, you may turn that piece over, you unfold it, you flip through the pages, or you set it aside for later when you have some quiet time. Again, you're setting the piece down, but you're coming back to it. So this is part of the study that they did, Cannon Post. 74% of respondents always notice something advertising in direct mail. 81% of people who get mail read their mail the same day they receive it. Interesting, 85% will open the mail if it looks interesting. Again, it's different from their daily electronic exposure. brings creative to the marketplace. It makes it interesting and different. Again, millennials we find today are looking for that link between an organization and themselves, whether it's a rewards program, loyalty program, or just something addressed to them personally. They feel like they're part of that organization. So consumers save mail. They display it in highly visible areas of the home, and they even pass it along to others. This creates multiple opportunities for a brand to be seen and engaged with. I think we've all seen catalogs, flyers, magazines left on the coffee table or countertop for later, maybe even a night table in your bedroom. Promotional mail kept on the fridge. It may not be relevant at that moment, but maybe you're saving that coupon for next month, next week, or when it becomes relevant. Restaurant menus. I don't never have to worry about being out of power on my digital device to look at a restaurant menu that's stuck in the kitchen drawer on a cupboard. And again, fast food coupons are kept on by the fridge. And I think we all can identify that major brands have continued with coupons because it was very interactive with them and keeping their brand in front of the consumer. That fridge that we sometimes stick things on it with magnets, it's one of the best marketing devices in a home today for us to understand. So that's the physical side of direct mail. And now I'm going to turn the rest of the presentation over to Tim Mischuk, who's going to show us how the physical piece then ties to the digital piece of the campaign through social media and amplifies the results. Tim?
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate everybody joining on the presentation today, those both in person and those together with us on the presentation. I'm just going to flip the presentation over just one moment here, and I'll bring up a PowerPoint. So just to reiterate, for those that maybe came in a little bit late on the webinar, we represent AIM Digital. Mark is one of the operational individuals to help operationally and also at a senior level within AIM and AIM Digital. I'm supporting the launch and really moving mail more to digital. We've been working with AIM for some time on combining those two efforts, and we're officially launching a significant move towards the digital side and the physical side, and merging those two together. And I think what you're going to find is a very interesting discussion on how that's working, and how we can actually bring a lift of close to 10% or more over a year's period if we engage with the brand to support a combination of both marketing mail and digital. So on that, we've talked about the lift. How we really do on the lift, just in a very short moment, it does take time to do this. It's not something that you can do in a week or 2 weeks. It's a process of time that we engage with the brand or brands that you represent, and we integrate that marketing mail with social media or even with Google and search. So what that means is most people look at a piece, and many times they'll go search or Google up that particular product or see if there's something online. Most people recognize there's something online that's available that also connects with the product. They don't necessarily always find the URL to Google it up. Number two, they may find a URL because we have attached a promotion to the URL, and we want to invite them to the promotion, and that promotion is only found at a specific URL. So there's a very common connection between the two. What we really want to do is make it meaningful. In other words, let's prove that we're actually able to create value by connecting marketing mail with the digital side. And in this case, we're looking at 10% as an overall lift over a period of 1 year as a minimum. So we'll amplify that, and we do that by integrating mail marketing with digital media. We can use an app that you already have, or we can create for you. And this solution works with neighborhood mail, postal code targeting, personalized mail, or the smart mail program in Canada. There's also counterparts that we work in the US. Works basically the same way, just it's a different mail system there, but essentially the same behavioral context happens and occurs in both opportunities. There's people that are asking some questions online. If you do have questions and you want to put them into the system, please do so, and Mark and I will review those at the end of the session today. Couple of things why social really works is the engagement side, and engagement is really important today. It's not just viewing something, but engaging with them. And engagement to us means acting on a promotion. It means giving us a name. It means giving us an opt-in. It might say like something or engage with something. And so we know that engagement is a higher way for customers to connect with the brand. And the best way to engage with that we can actually track and view is when you go online. You can't watch somebody engage on a direct mail piece, but you can see that online. So there's an automatic connection between the two. Secondly, word of mouth, as we know, is a very powerful way to engage people. So what we want to do on the word of mouth side is say, have this promotion, connect the promotion with an additional 10% off. So maybe we give 10% when you download the app and do your first order online, or connect with a certain service or product. But we might give an additional 10% to share that particular thing. So you see on a lot of apps today, like Uber, Skip the Dishes, and other things that they have where you can share, and they give you $20 off your first order if you share. So they're doing that on purpose because what they're doing is trying to get word of mouth, not from the brand, but from the consumer who is engaged with that product. And so that's a referral. That's really what it boils down to, a digital referral, and those are really powerful in today's digital context. But we got to remember, all of that started with a direct mail piece that showed up at your home. So we take them on this journey from direct mail all the way through the digital, from the physical to the digital, and then the sharing and engagement, and a whole bunch of pieces happen alongside of that. We're able to measure all of that and with AIM Digital and prove at the end of the day that we've got that lift. So it's a really wonderful way to connect the dots on a marketing mail campaign. And this is just an example of one of them, very simple. You can see there's a code in there. You're sharing the invite code. And the reason we do that is because we can then monitor that invite code, which is personal to that individual. So everybody in this room or online, if they were going to choose to be part of the promotion, would actually be able to get that code, and that code would be personal to them. So we're able to see who they refer. Otherwise, it's one code and there's no personalization attached to it, and I can't tell how many Mark brought in, for example, or somebody here that's on online presentation. We can actually monitor and determine how many people came into that promotion through that sharing effort. And that can be with an app, it could be on a website. There's many different ways to do that, but it's fairly simple to integrate. So we increase social engagement by integrating with your app, using a Pearl for social sharing, or a pin, something that's unique to you so we can track that, and or through a website. So there's a study that came out by Emerald Insight that's really interesting. We all know about loyalty, we know about rewards programs, and we have a party sitting with us that has a reward program and a loyalty program and part of what they do. And we understand that consumers really connect with that, and there's value to that. So what we want to do is engage that loyalty program in a greater way by mixing marketing mail with digital and improving the overall experience, making it more enjoyable and self-determined. So there's a lot of work. You can check the detail out on that particular study, but the rewarding the customer engagement has a stronger effect on loyalty than programs designed only to purchase. So loyalty is a longer term retention process whereby just one reward doesn't do the same, doesn't have the same impact. So the bottom line is this, that there's a minimum 10% lift. We create a measurable increase over 12 months, boosting revenues with an average of 10% lift. So people often ask me, how do you track that? How do you know that's true? Maybe, we had another promotion, another brand, another part that kind of parlayed into what we're doing. And so what we actually do is we take the actual sales numbers and the people that integrate it, because we have their names, and it's done all privately with the proper privacy controls attached to that. We can upload them both anonymously or with the name showing, depending on what the brand wants to do. And we attach them to the session information that we're capturing on digital and to the marketing mail. So we can pull that real data from sales all the way through the cycle, all the way back to the original point that we connected the dots on the marketing piece. And so we're able to say that that come from Facebook sharing, did that come from marketing mail, what was the originating document or touch point that we created with the customer, and measure that journey at every point in the journey as they walk through that process. Nobody just takes something and automatically buys. There's usually some process that they follow, whether 1, 2, 3, or 4 steps, sometimes as many as 12 steps. And sometimes it's a nurturing process of reconnecting or retargeting. Some people call it targeting. But in our case, it's a matter of managing that process carefully, because not all sales happen immediately. It's usually a number of touch points that create the sale and that sale effort. So what the program would include, people are going to ask, well, how does this work? What does it look like? And this slide really focuses on that. It's something we do over 12 months. A program like this would include installation on the digital assets of the brand, including mobile. So what we want to do is we want to capture those touch points. We can't do it without putting some pixel on it or some URL or some contact form that we're able to track that. It's impossible. So we overlay your own digital assets with that. We develop some content. We provide program analytics at every point. Monthly reporting. We integrate with your existing mail marketing program. We integrate with the existing mail marketing program. We also integrate with the email marketing program that you might have, so we can continue the cycle there. We provide all the licensing for all the technology that's required, and then a program management. And our customers typically ask, how do you begin that? And we begin that with a consultation to help understand what are the possibilities. So we would look at some of your assets, some of the ways you market, how many pieces you might put out, and we can really go backwards and determine an ROI on that consult, or we call it a marketing audit. So it's not a big, long process. It's something that just helps us engage, helps us better understand and predict what we're doing, so we're not guessing. We're not putting a statement together, a statement of work, without truly understanding what the brand wants to do this properly. One of the first things we do after the audit is, and as part of the audit, is understanding the audience we're going after. So in this case, product number 1 might be a male demographic, might be millennial, values and interests are focused on that. Product number 2 might be a family, a situation where the average age is 35 plus, and they enjoy movies or whatever they do. And product number 3 might be a youth demographic between 18 and 24, and so on and so forth. So the fortunate thing is with marketing mail, we can really target that audience in a very granular way. And a lot of people don't understand that you can do that. You can get the right data, you can market that, Canada Post has an incredible service to really get granularity on that. But you can get the same granularity on digital. So we map those two pieces together. So as part of our audit, and you're targeting a certain audience with the brand, we're going to hit that target. And this is for net new acquisition. There's also what we call loyalty retention programs that are there, which obviously are just going to your existing client, making sure they're happy and everybody's looked after. But a big part of marketing mail is the ability to target a net new customer, which you can't do with email. And there's some other prohibitive factors that stop you from doing that, which we can do with marketing mail. Another big part of what happens in a process like this is that people don't truly value as much as we've understood is a significant increase in your database. And when we refer to database, that's your email database. So that would be enjoy email marketing at a bigger level than before and connecting with your customers so they grow. So for example, if we're looking at 2018, you might have a database of 10,000. A sample email database growth with social might grow to 15,000. Whereas if we really propagated this well and got the social amplification portion working, we might be able to grow it from 11 to 20,000 in 2019, and you might not get the same growth. That's almost a doubling of growth. We've seen some significant growth factors on the email side because we're very cautious and understand the value of not just a visit to a website, but collecting the potential customer's name with some segmented data on it. For example, are they male or female? Where are they located? What are they interested in? Do they want to buy today, or do they want to look? They're just looking, browsing for something in 6 months from now. So we're getting some of their intent as part of the database development, which is captured through a form. And you can see here on the screen, this automatically goes into your favorite email program. In this case, it's MailChimp. We capture a segmenting question, like I'm actively looking for anti-aging products, or I'm just interested in winning. So, you know, part of contesting and that kind of thing has some value, but at the end of the day, we really want to get a buyer that's interested in purchasing. And so we're able to even disqualify some customers that are just interested in the win part, and asking them very specifically, what are you honestly interested in? Am I looking at just doing my research on it? Where in the cycle are they? And we're able to get that and capture that segment inside the email database. So then we can target them with a different message for somebody that's researching than somebody that's looking at buying tomorrow and they just need a promo code to buy that. So we're able to get that kind of targeting and segmentation as part of that. One of the things that we really pride ourselves in is this dashboard right here that shows you the entire marketing funnel from beginning to end. So what's the social reach? Social reach is the total potential universe of people that we can hit on social media with this campaign. So we've got 222,000, okay? But we hit 358,000 impressions, which is the entire universe plus more. So that means there was some repeat views of that product, okay? And then we got out of that actionable things that happened, which are visits. 5,635 visits came through, and generating 841 opt-ins. People said, yes, send me an email. So from the full universe, we found out the inflection points to get down to 841. Now, this is a real example of a real product that was done, and they sold 14,791 orders. So this is over a period of time. But the reality is they were very qualified buyers, and it gave them a really solid lift on what they were trying to do. But you can also see things like how many people shared, what's their earned media, which I'll talk about in a moment, and influencer visits. How many people came in through influencers and other people that shared? So if you share and you bring in 3 people, you are an influencer, whether you label yourself that or not. It's pretty amazing what people can actually do, because we see the metrics in behind. And when people share, the value of that sharing or the value of that notification on social media or via email or text. So as you all know, text is probably the most powerful feed today on your phone, okay? And the first part of your phone, the very first screen on your phone, is the most important real estate on the globe today. So having your app on that part of your phone is very important, but the other one is your text. So this allows you to actually text that information directly onto the phone, put a picture of that promo that you can send to your friends, et cetera, just so you don't, a lot of people are more private. They don't want to share that all over social media. So we're not just suggesting social, we're suggesting a way of referring or sharing, whether it be text or email. So part of what we're able to learn through this is some important data and understanding your customer better. Not only the buying decisions of the customer, but the journey of the customer. That's what I'm going to chat through right now. Number one, you're getting a marketing mail. It's going to go to an individual. That individual shares and brings 4 people. And that other person, because they're sharing on digital, brought in another 2 people, and so on and so forth. So we're able to track ad infinitum all the different iterations of that sharing over periods of time, and it's pretty significant. Okay, that's the amplification right there in a nutshell. So, but it's also showing us the journey of what happened. So the number 3 thing is that data is captured in the database. So you're able to go into a CRM and you'll be able to see the information that's there and what's happened and how that data was captured. And then we can put it into your own CRM. We can transfer it using a number of tools to any number of other products. So it's very simple. This is not complicated. But if you send an email out to that same person that's sitting in the CRM, what'll happen is that email record is also captured there. When they first hit with direct mail, we know what happened. So we have a record of all the different touch points legally because they've opted in. Okay, we can't get things that you don't legally opt in. So it's only things that they agree to support and provide for us under strict privacy guidelines. okay? And then finally, we're going to be able to see the people they influenced. So we can find people that are just average, people that have a social connection, use Facebook or Instagram, and they happen to influence 3 or 4 people, and they get rewarded for that as part of a loyalty program. So imagine a loyalty program that includes points for purchase, but imagine one that extends it because of who they bring into that program. And they're your salespeople, your referral agents, if you may, in this process. And this is what it actually looks like on the screen. So what I just showed you is a process, but what you see over here is a list of influencers from a real program that's generated through AIIM Digital software. Number 2, we're going to be able to see a radial pull of all those individuals. We score that person in that journey. So this person, Julie, has a score of 59 out of 100. So we know that she's quite influential, even though she may not classify her as an Instagram influencer. She's influential, and we can see all the touch points. You can see them below on the screen here. I call this the mail and digital trifecta. And I use this because I help people understand the complexity of digital, and it's actually not that complex. It's quite simple. And I go back to this anecdote from many years ago. I've been in the marketing business for longer than you want to know. But you know, I just remember 20 years ago, 15 years ago, we had none of this. The only thing we would have is the AIIM Digital logo on the side of the building. And what? Radio, print, and TV. That's all you had. If you had anything else, let me know. But that's the only thing. Maybe a truck on the road. I mean, you didn't have anything else that we have today. This has all happened in the last 10, 12 years. So if you had a sign on the wall, that would be owned media. Okay? You own the sign. It sits on your wall. You're not paying for that. You're not paying a media company to put a billboard on the QEW. You've got a sign on the wall. Okay? That's owned media. Today, owned media includes your Facebook following, your Instagram following, 10,000 people in your email database. You own that. Nobody else owns it. You have the privacy rules around that, and we want to leverage that effectively to generate more activity. So part of the audit that we would engage is looking at your own media to see what can we get out of your own media to make it more alive, and how can we engage it more. Okay? Owned media is your customers as well. So one of the ways we would connect with your customers is sending to your own media offers to maybe get them engaged net new customers and refer through a marketing mail piece. So that's your owned. Paid is what you got to pay for to get. So hopefully what you're doing is getting paid ads, even mail marketing, to acquire more customers, which become owned. So owned is your database. I might be using marketing mail, which we're paying for, to acquire net new emails that you'll own. So guess what? They can be leveraged over a cycle of time and really support your next steps in your campaign. Okay, so that's paid. The third is earned. What's earned? It's the best part of it all. It's why TripAdvisor exists. Because you go on there and you say, is this hotel any good? Yeah, 1,422 people said it was a 4-star or above. So that's earned. That's what you don't get. That's what we never had before. You had word of mouth, but you can never store it and get that. So all those things, dimensions, shares, repost, and review, you're getting all that, and that converts to owned as well, because people then sign up for the hotel, they put their name in, pay for it, and they got their name and they become a customer. So what we're engaging is not just marketing mail, we're engaging a whole trifecta of digital pieces that we're connecting the dots on, and you're going to be able to see on a dashboard what owned, earned, and paid looks like as part of your campaign, so you can better analyze what you're doing with your brand and as a brand. I'm almost done. I just want to go through a financial case study to show you how this actually works with a real customer, okay, without naming the customer. It is a credit union. It's not a big credit union. They got a number of locations, but they're not that big. And they had a certain solution or KPI they wanted to do, and they wanted to open the number of accounts for a marketing campaign that included marketing mail and social media. Okay, so they wanted to increase their revenue by 20% and prove that it came beyond just the marketing piece, which was the marketing mail. Okay, they wanted to prove that they got a lift on it. So what do? We produced the Share and Win campaign microsite. which basically I'll just describe to you very quickly. You sign up on a page that gives you something for entering. Maybe there's a chance to win something. Sometimes we give them some money in an account if they open it up. They might put money on a credit card. They might send you some kind of value or discount or promo. Most of the stuff on the internet today is powered by promotions. Other than Apple and Microsoft, there's not too many people that sell today without a promotion. Okay, because their brands are powerful and they don't have to discount. But the reality is most other people, like our group and others, have to discount. So what they do on page 2 is there's a number of items they can purchase, number of offers. So one of them might be bank account, one might be car loan, one might be a travel visa card, something like that. And there's a number of offers they can click on page number 2. And then they get an additional valuable bonus if they share. So there's a whole journey they just go through on 3 pages. And what we got here is on the paid media via print and emails. Most of this was printed marketing mail. The emails was about 10,000 of that 339,000. So most of it was marketing mail. They got 2,548 visits, 1,309 contacts or emails, and 544 opted in. So that was paid media. So we had to engage marketing mail to do this and some emails, okay? We got under earned media, visits of 911. We got 426 new contacts, and opt-ins were 184. So with paid media, we got contacts as well. We got some net new ones, but with earned, we got that lift of 426, which is a pretty big number considering we didn't have to pay for that. Okay, so under the account activity, we got 288 accounts open, 426 new accounts, 49 contacts from earned media, 239 contacts from paid media, 123 of the 280 opted into future marketing, and 22 contacts influenced others. So the solution was successful in integrating traditional marketing strategy with social media and adding 26% amplification over traditional outcomes of just marketing mail. Earned media added a 19% increase in account opens. I will say this is a pretty significant event. There was not 10,000 marketing mail pieces, there was over 300,000. So one of the things that we're careful with when we do the audit is recognizing that it costs money to make money, it costs money to get them, it's reasonable, there's an ROI attached to it, we can walk through all of that, but it doesn't work with a small run of 100 or 200. It's something that's more substantial to make this all come together. So that's really our presentation today. I do have some questions here that Mark and I can maybe help answer. Let me see the question thing. First of all, I appreciate everybody staying on as long as they did. There's some handouts as well. Let me see the questions. Okay, I got one here. Of course, personalized is required and important. Yeah, so somebody's saying, is personalized addressing is required and important? Yes, it is important, and it's probably way more important than we think. Just generating a flyer is important, and I know there's cost implications to personalization, but today those costs can come down because data and personalizing mail pricing has come right down because of technology today. But personalization does bring a lift itself and a stronger connection point on direct mail. For example, what we can do is put a person's name, change some of the content and that kind of thing on the direct mail piece, but we can also add a PIN number that's unique to you. So that PIN number opens up the website differently than if you just go in and put the form in there. So if I already have you in the database and my name is Tim, and I use my PIN, which is 1257, and I type in 1257, it's connecting that PIN to me, which is in the database, and automatically opening up offers that could be personalized on the page that would be unique to me. So a good question. Another question, is this solution scalable? Scalable meaning, can we really project it? Can we do many of these fairly quickly? And the answer is yes. So because we're using technology to do it, we're not manually adding up Excel spreadsheets and figuring it all out. we can scale it. We can also get quick feedback from what's working, what's not working. So I'll give you an example. We could do marketing mail and a test in one market in Ottawa. We could do another test in New York. And we can compare the two tests with the two audiences and get some quick feedback because we know it's working. We're analyzing the numbers and it's real time on a dashboard. We could run Facebook ads. We could run Instagram ads as well in parallel with this and compare that to one audience versus another audience and quickly make those changes as required. So the answer is yes. And I would say you can also optimize, which it really makes it effective. Any other questions? Okay. How long is the initial audit? It depends on how big the organization, how many brands are in there, but I would say we can do a pretty reasonable number if we have the right input. So what does that look like? How many in your Facebook? How many followers? How many Instagram followers? How big is your database? We can ask those questions in advance. I typically like to look at, our team likes to look at the Google Analytics for the website. It does give us a lot of insight of what's going on. It helps us forecast. If we have those inputs in advance, we can do the audit in a morning or an afternoon, probably 2 to 4 hours. And at the end, we typically come out of that with a spreadsheet that really indicates what the lift might look like based on what we've known in the past. So great question. Any other questions before we wrap today? If not, thank you so much. Oh, we have one more question. What if a company has multiple brands within the organization? A really good question. So a lot of times companies are siloed. The digital is in one area, marketing mails in another area, emails in this area. We have social over here. And you know, today the customer doesn't think that way. They want to cross promote. So it's really important that even as part of the audit, maybe what we recommend is a way we can work with all departments to achieve that. And once we get a nice model for that, we can obviously parlay that into various brands within the organization that would use a similar model and resources to apply that. And another question that I know comes up quite a bit is, can we use existing resources to apply some of this along with outside external vendor resources? And the question is, of course, yes. So part of our job is to integrate the right strategic model overlaid on the entire organization, make sure what we do hits the right targets. And if we just do one little piece, doesn't always make it all work. So we really work hard at delivering our due diligence to strategically overlay not only many departments, but bringing brands together with a really good viable solution that gives that 10% lift.